Just when you thought Fire Emblem Engage was going to be the hot topic of the week, back in Feh, we just got some insane news. Surprise September Feh Channel, and it involves power creeping skill inheritance. That's right. If you've been playing the recent Tempest Trials, we've got another Leaf, and it was assumed this would probably be an Ascended Leaf. Poor Air is getting pushed aside, and Leaf gets another animated trailer with Book 3's iconic Metal Jam. Turns out it's not Ascended Leaf we're getting, but a brand new type of hero, Rearmed Heroes. Rearmed Heroes are a bit similar to Ascended Heroes in that summoning them will benefit the rest of your units, but instead of an Ascended Floret, Rearmed Heroes are here to power creep skill inheritance. What does that mean exactly? Rearmed Heroes are introducing Arcane Inheritance. There's quite a lot of things going on with this feature, so I suggest reading the in-game notification for yourself, but I will cover the basics here. The general idea of Arcane Inheritance is that you can skill inherit from a Rearmed hero, but they do not disappear afterwards. What this means is that the fancy new Rearmed Leaf can hand over his new attack and defense finish 4 to another unit, and you will still have that same copy in your barracks. You can use them in battle, and you can use them for merging. However, Arcane Inheritance is a one-time thing, just like regular inheriting. Unlike Ascended Heroes though, you can Arcane Inherit from every single copy of a Rearmed hero. That means if you get 11 copies of Rearmed Leaf, you can use all 11 of those to Arcane Inherit their skills. After that, you can merge them all into a plus 10 copy. You do have to do it in that order though. You cannot merge all 11 copies and use Arcane Inheritance 11 times from your final plus 10 copy. Basically, one Arcane Inheritance per one Rearmed hero. Now the actual skill inheritance power creeping comes from the fact that Rearmed heroes have arcane weapons, and these are freaking inheritable. They don't even have the lower might penalty of non-unique weapons, and Leaf's sword has a way more effects tied to it than anything else out there. For example, this is hilariously better than the new Coral Saber Plus, which was already top tier. This is like the Coral Saber plus the Guard Sword plus Slaying Edge plus a follow-up deny effect. It's insane. To top it off, these arcane inheritables can be stat refined. That is actually nuts. Now, there's one big restriction to these weapons not mentioned in the Feh channel. That is, you cannot run arcane inheritable weapons with other unique skills. That is a balancing factor for certain units. For example, despite them using Legendary Ike in the Feh channel, you can't use Leaf's Arcane Sword with Radiant Aether. Legendaries and Mythics are the most susceptible to this, but that applies to other units as well, just like Ragnar Astro holders for example. The only exception to this rule is the Rearmed heroes themselves. Leaf has 2 unique skills, but you can use them with his Arcane Sword. If you're curious about Hall of Forms or how it's going to work for Hall of Forms, arcane weapons only appear for the specific Rearmed hero, so basically no, you can't just get them for free from there. I would recommend reading through the in-game notification on Rearmed heroes, as I did not cover absolutely everything. If you don't care about Rearmed heroes, you will still want these celebratory rewards. For login bonuses, you can get some Hero Grills and Dragon Flowers, that's nice. The real prize, however, is a whopping 999 Divine Dew. Oh yeah, that's a juicy reward. We also have one other reward, which I believe is tied to these quests. I'll talk about that later on. If you're wondering how to get Rearmed Leaf, well, we got a new Heroes banner with Leaf on it, and he'll accompany some characters from Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. I knew they weren't going to leave these guys out. We did get the banner trailer, but I'll just briefly be going over all the units here. Come to my banner breakdown for more discussion once we know everyone's stats. First up is Monica. If you play 3 Houses, you should know who this is, but in that game, the real Monica is dead and replaced by Kronya. In 3 Houses, alternative timeline, we save the real Monica at the start of the game, and that helps kick off all the new events going on. This is Monica in her time skip attire, and she's a blue infantry mage. She has the Wind Genesis, which excites specials, grants attack and speed field buffs, and a desperation status each turn. That should be desperation without an HP threshold. She then gets more attack and speed in combat and inflicts speed and res debuffs based on the foe's max special count. It actually scales higher the lower the enemy's max cooldown is. That means one cooldown special users get hit the hardest. Monica comes with attack and speed ideal 4 and speed and res tempo, so lots of firepower on her end. Basically a relatively simple offensive mage. Would love those new infantry no fall buffs. Next up is Holly Jolly Hilda, except wait, this is going to be Ascended Hilda. Besides our Brave 3 Houses units, I believe this is our first rendition of one of these students in their time skip attire. Obviously, this is the 3 Hopes Hilda, but I still imagine they could use the base game's time skip outfits for other characters. Anyway, Ascended Hilda is still an axe infantry, and now we know why she got her refined so early. Fuming Fukugo works very similarly to its older form, but with different effects. Hilda buffs nearby allies with higher defense than her, or if she has not fought in the current phase. For those allies, they get +3 to all stats and 20% damage reduction for one hit. For her own combat, Hilda has accelerated specials plus 6 second speed, 40% DR for one hit, and she does X% of her speed on special trigger. This scales with her max special cooldown value. For example, with 2 cooldown Luna, she gets 40% of her speed stat as bonus true damage, aka Ragnar Astra. So, like the OG Hilda, Ascended Hilda is still kind of a hybrid support and combative unit. She will have attack and speed solo 4 and joint drive speed, and she introduces a new dodge B skill called Velocity. This is dodge plus no guard. That is a pretty powerful perk to have since a lot of dodge users love special spamming as well. Ascended Hilda, also another fan of the new infantry no follow-up skills. Next up, we have female and male Shez. If you aren't familiar, Shez is the main protagonist for 3 Hopes, basically taking Violet's spot, being involved with all the students. As you can see from their special artwork, Shez is able to transform, although this will mainly be for aesthetics only. In Feh, male Shez is dual wielding, but now with his special sword from Arvel. Instead, he just has the Crimson Blades. 11 might, +5 speed, -5 defense and res, dual phase brave attacks, and if he has more than 20% HP, he gets +1 special charge for every action. If his HP is above 40%, he also gets 40% DR for one hit. That is pretty crazy for a dual phase brave weapon. Male Shez gets Taken Speed Oath 4, which is hilariously good now, and he is bringing speed and defense bulwark with him. Kind of funny that in 3 Hopes, Shez's unique action lets them pass through enemies, but in Feh, he's kind of just a brick wall obstructing them. Now, for female Shez, she has an axe, which is interesting. We actually did not get a lot of info about her because she's not on the banner. In fact, if you do those quests from earlier, you can get 2 free copies of female Shez at 5 stars. It hasn't been confirmed as far as I know, but other units put in this position have turned out to be instant demos, which would kind of be wild to me. There is no 4-star focus on the banner either, so I'm inclined to believe female Shez might actually be 3 to 4-star sunnable at some point. Her axe looks like the male counterparts, swords, so I think it's unique. It didn't seem to be a brave weapon, but I'm not really sure. Assuming she is like male Shez, I expect her to be quite fast as well, which would make her a pretty good or interesting axe infantry. A lot of those guys tend to be on the slower side, at least for the summonable ones. For the 3 Hopes and Rearmed Leaf banner, there are some things to know. Rearmed heroes are not going to be going into the permanent pool. They will come back, but you can only get them when they are focused heroes. Funny enough, we just freed Dual Ephraim from this same restriction, and now we're bringing it back for Rearmed heroes. Not the biggest deal, it just means you cannot randomly get this new leaf on any old banner. The second special perk for this banner is that you can spark it twice. That goes for any player, you don't need the Feh Pass. For obvious reasons, Rearmed heroes are probably going to be rolling in soon like Ascended heroes and are exceptionally good to get. You get their fodder, and you get to keep them. Not only that, but we have entered into an incredible state of power creep for inheritable weapons. Nothing comes close to Leaf's sword in terms of effects, and it's going to be way more enticing to use than for a lot of older units refines. For example, if you like using the Asker Trio for the arena bonus score, then Alphonse just got a huge upgrade if you want him to kill stuff. I do like the Rearmed Hero concept in terms of the arcane inheritance, letting you keep the unit. However, the basically inheritable unique weapons part is a little crazy. If these weapons continue to be like Leaf's sword, then they are just instantly best in slot for so many units. Is that a bad thing? Well, I guess we'll see once more Rearmed Heroes start to release. Moving on, there is one last 3 Hopes unit, and that is freaking HOLST. The man, the myth, the legend. Hilda's brother is mentioned so many times in the main game, and he finally gets his time to shine in 3 Hopes, voiced by the wonderful Pro ZD, Someone Cho. He is going to be our Grand Hero battle unit. I'm super stoked about that. From the Feh Channel, we saw he has his own weapon and comes with attack and speed ideal 3 and 03. His stats are pretty jacked with 41 base speed and I think 43 base attack. It looks like he's getting +3 from his weapon. In combat, ignoring the ideal 3 boost, HOLST got plus attack and speed and +5 defense and res. Maybe bonus double is involved, I don't know, but the man is looking like an incredible free to play sword infantry unit. He might be the next Yen Feh type unit. If female Shez does have a unique axe, we're getting 2 free units with their own weapon. It's gonna be a fun update for sure. Speaking of update, we even got a preview of update 6.10 next month. Pretty far still, but let's talk about it. First up is that Hall of Forms are getting revival events. If you missed out on a unit or maybe they got refined, here's a chance to get them some nice skills. The first revival has already been chosen, but future ones will be voted for on Twitter, similar to the revival banners. The first Hall of Forms revival will be for the Tokyo Mirage Sessions units. Maybe coincidence that the new FE Engage has a similar crazy transformation type deal going on. If you would like any of these units, you can obviously use a form or so after the event, but the Hall of Form revival groups will also be getting revival banners too. In fact, you can spark these banners so you can get a former copy and a guaranteed merge for them. For the TMS units specifically, they didn't get refines just yet, but they released right before Year 4 started and we're in the middle of Year 3's refines. They aren't that far in the future, relatively speaking. Next update is for Binding Worlds. Nothing big, but you can now view hero records to see all the past units you used on your journey. That's a nice feature. Last, we got some Summoner Duels updates. From Friday to Sunday Pacific time, you can earn bonus favor points. I'm not completely sure I understood it correctly, but it sounded like for every match you play, you get plus 10 bonus points that continue to stack. You can cap out at 30 favor per match, but you basically that means after 3 matches, you're gonna earn 30 points every single match. I think you do need to score points though, so no AFK losing with no score. The other change is that also on the weekends you can select the new custom rule for level 40, no supports. That's basically it. Overall, I think we can all agree this was a wild Feh channel. Rearmed heroes are going to be interesting, and I guess that means time for another round of alts for all the FE lords to get back in on. Maybe not. I love being able to follow these new unit skills, but getting to keep them. The only thing I'm iffy on is the inheritable weapon part. Like on one hand, it's amazing for older units, but on the other hand, the power creep for actual inheritable weapons is going to be insane. Maybe this is why some of the newer weapons are getting better effects, because how do you compete with accelerated specials, Omni Breaker, Guard, and D-Boss? If you have a favorite older unit you still like to use, then absolutely keep your eye on future rearmed heroes with the same weapon type. I was still riding off the high from Engage, but Feh just decided to throw in some curveballs. I would love to get the 3 Hopes units too. I'm a little short on orbs, but I think I might still be able to make the Spark before the banner ends. Well, that'll be it for now. Check back later for my banner breakdown on the 3 Hopes units plus Rearmed Leaf. Also, we gotta talk about HOLST. Thank you for watching. See you guys soon.